Kia does not go cheap when it comes to updating one of their new models. Witness this 2025 Carnival. It's a minivan that's now wearing the face of many of its new SUVs. New face, new back end, new style inside and out, more technology, and for 2025, a hybrid option. Let's go take a look. The Carnival was brand new for 2022. It replaced the Sedona, which had lingered in Kia showrooms since the early 2000s. Now it's the most aggressive-looking minivan on sale. And because this is not early 2000s Kia, the Carnival doesn't come cheap. Is this the new Sorento? It's not, but it certainly looks like it, like a drop Sorento further down to the ground. That is the whole point of this refresh, to make the Carnival more like the rest of Kia's SUVs, including the new EV9 all-electric SUV. This whole new light structure, they look like big claws. Giant amber LEDs sweeping around the lights. The grille, way bigger, different textures. Everything about it is not as smooth, it's more blunt, a lot more edgy. I honestly think that sometimes it looks cool and sometimes it looks a little ugly, but hey, beauty is in the eye of the beholder and minivans have never been gorgeous, so Kia is trying something truly unique in this segment. That dropped SUV look really looks good from the side. The whole body is chopped and square in a way that all the competitors just are not. And if you look at this one, this is the SX Prestige. The top trim as the dark edition wearing these black 19-inch wheels and darkened Kia emblems. I think the new Kia logo is such a massive improvement. The Carnival already had it, and I just like it darker on here. It looks really sporty. And this paint, it's ceramic, that's another option. It just looks pretty cool. And you can say that about a minivan when you're actually viewing it from the side and actually really want to be in it. Imagine that. The back of the Carnival wears the same kind of lights as those LEDs up front. Again, I'm looking at them as like hooks, like I'm gonna be hooked off the stage from a bad vaudeville act. But it's very cool. I like the look. The Carnival already had a pretty interesting light signature. Now they're just changing it up just because. The entire tailgate is also new. It's a whole lot flatter. The license plate section, the bumper, everything is different than 2024. And really, Kia didn't have to, but it's kind of neat. It's definitely more SUV and boxy. My favorite design feature on the Carnival is the C-pillar. It's this silver painted and textured section that blends really nice with that tinted glass. Just a nice little thing to remind you that it's not boring. The interior of the Carnival reminds me of a nicer SUV. It doesn't feel like a van. And some people don't like the fact that you can't put a lot of things here and that this isn't really too deep. But I think it looks more like a car and it's sportier. If you're seeing this rotary shifter, that's because this is the hybrid. That's the new trim for 2025, and the only way to tell you're driving it, aside from the digital instrument panel. Everything does look pretty upscale, but the 2024 Carnival already looked pretty good, and I think it functions a little better, especially on the center stack. The biggest change for 2025, this new curved display, new center stack, and on this SX Prestige, deep navy and misty gray seats. Every Carnival has third zone climate and either 7 or 8 passenger seating. With the 3 across, you can slide this center seat back or bring it much further. And Kia says if you got a baby seat in here, the front adults can really access the baby a lot easier. It's kind of actually how they say it. If you don't want to see your kid, you slide them back just like that and you have plenty of leg room. And also, on this SX Prestige, a power sliding sunroof. That is something that I've never seen in any other minivan. It's really nice. You want to throw some shade in the third row? Feel free. They're on this SX Prestige. Pretty nice. Also, plenty of room, lots of vents, USB-C ports that are illuminated on either side, cup holders, and thankfully, plenty of legroom. What's also nice about this center seat is that when it's folded down, the back row has cup holders and, up here, a little flat space. Makes it that much easier to use. The Carnival has cargo space aplenty. 40 cubic feet behind the third row, about 87 when that's folded, and when everything is folded, 145. The third row of the Carnival folds into the floor, with just one smooth motion like that on either side. The Carnival comes standard with a V6 engine that's shared with the Kia Telluride, almost 290 horsepower, 8-speed automatic transmission. But you can also get, for 2025, gas-electric hybrid with nearly as much power and torque from a much smaller turbocharged 4 and a single electric motor. And what you get in return for all of that? Well, fuel economy that's 34 mpg EPA rated in the city. That's way higher than the regular V6. Now for towing, you lose about 1,000 pounds, 3,500 pounds on the V6, only 2,500 on this hybrid, but most people don't tow with minivans. They certainly put a lot of people inside, and fuel savings might be on your list. The Carnival now has two 12.3-inch screens in a single curved unit. And they're now a tile setup here, so all the little icons that were really hard to decipher while you were driving, they looked all the same. Now it's so much easier to use. There's new features like this, a camera in the second row. Tons of setup. This also way more logical than before, easier to use. Just like you'll find in Hyundai and Genesis models, although the type here is different, the color is different. It's just a lot simpler. Digital keys. You can even actually have smart liftgate and smart sliding doors. The smart part means that you can just have the key in your pocket. The door will open and close when you get close. That's pretty cool. Not too many vans do that. Digital keys that you can text to your kids if they ever are allowed to drive this car. I don't know. That's your call. And there's also new features on this interface. For example, you can swipe down for some navigation guidance, alerts. You can basically adjust audio and display settings here. You can also adjust some of the audio here, pop it down there. Wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. You don't need a wire anymore like you had with lots of Kia models before this. And generally, it's just pretty simple to use. I like it. The Carnival's newest feature is this open console. It's flatter, it's easier to put objects, a wireless phone charger that's no longer angled, USB ports that are easier to use. The climate controls used to be down here. Now you don't even see them. Now you do, and now you don't. I don't really like that. It is pretty cool to use when you're parked, and it works pretty well in theory, right? It can adjust the rear, do all this stuff, but try doing this on the highway when you're trying not to kill your entire family. That might sound kind of crazy, but this is very, very distracting. It's not a good feature. It's just a feature for tech's sake, and I really don't like it. The gauge cluster doesn't really do too much other than change to a tachometer when you're in sport mode, changes some colors. If you use the touchscreen, you get this square look. Okay, it does that. But it doesn't show much information. There's no full screen maps or full screen driver assist, which I think they should do. But the best part, blind spot cameras on either side. This is truly a lifesaver. The hybrid powertrain may be a bit noisy, but there's plenty of power, nearly as much as the V6. That's a nice feature on a minivan, because a vehicle this size typically is not that fuel efficient. You know, in the city, you're getting in the high teens, if that. Now here, fuel efficiency is well over 30 mpg in the city and the highway. In the cold weather, I would say though, I haven't been seeing that. I'm seeing more in the high 20s, a lot of that highway driving. So your mileage may vary, but it's definitely better than a traditional SUV, certainly better than the Telluride. Now the Carnival, hybrid or not, is not the quietest minivan. I'm noticing more road and wind noise, despite the fact that this is sealed and so is the windshield, acoustically laminated really to have more layers of glass and insulation there. But still, could be quieter. For such an open cabin, it's not bad, and it's not a luxury car, but others like the Honda Odyssey definitely do it better. The ride is great. Gotta give Kia that. And the on-center feel and the steering is also good. Plus, if you're on the highway and you want to use automatic lane changes, a highway driving assistant, that's here on this SX Prestige, and a lot of driving features already come standard. Now at speed, the transition between electric motor, gas, and both is pretty seamless. It's pretty good. There's 3 different driving modes. Unlike most hybrids, when you throw it into sport, you can actually change gears because it's a 6-speed automatic transmission. And there's actually a good amount of power. And yeah, when you actually are using the paddle shifters in manual mode, it does not downshift when you're getting on the gas. That's very sporty for a hybrid, very sporty for a hybrid minivan. For my purposes, because I like more consistent performance, I would recommend the Carnival V6. Save your $2,000, put it somewhere else, invest it in your kid's college fund. But if you really want the hybrid experience, I'd say go Sienna. In my experience, that is definitely a better all-around hybrid, and it's even more efficient. While sport mode is fun, the Carnival drives at speed really just as well without it. So when you're in eco mode, another nice feature, when you use the paddle shifters, you can adjust the brake regen from 1, 2, or 3, where it really slows down the car. It's not quite as aggressive, obviously, as an EV with one pedal driving, but it's definitely good for going down hills and for recharging the battery. There's also an automatic function where it will pace the traffic in front and adjust those levels accordingly. Modern hybrids like this will constantly use the electric motor and shut off the gas, even at high speeds under low loads. And the Carnival is no different. I do like that functionality about it. And the only way to really know is just to see the little icon on the instrument panel here. Otherwise, you're driving around and you wouldn't know the difference. I'm not totally sold on the Carnival's exterior looks, but from behind the wheel, especially in this kind of white and blue interior they got going on, I have to say I like that. But at least Kia is trying with the design. They're trying to make it look more like an SUV. And to be honest, right, no one's winning a style contest with any van, ever. Body control on the Carnival, okay, that's a little loud, but body control and response, pretty decent, especially in a hybrid powertrain. And the brakes, they have that slight spongy feeling that you're used to in a hybrid, but they're not bad. Overall, I'm more impressed with the performance of this Carnival than I ever thought I'd be. Sometimes it's inconsistent off the line when you're driving, trying to accelerate. Right there, it was great, but a lot of other times, the Carnival Hybrid will hesitate when getting off the line. There's like a delay in the throttle, and it doesn't matter if you're in the eco or the smart mode. Sport helps, but I think the throttle calibration could be better. Not terrible, but definitely not as good as what you'll find with Toyota hybrids like the Sienna. The 2025 Kia Carnival starts at $37,000. There are 5 trims. The hybrid adds $2,000 to any of these trims except the base LX, which is not offered. As tested, the hybrid SX Prestige, about $55,000 with destination. Without the hybrid, $53,000. Among minivans, the Kia Carnival feels like it's the freshest in the segment, not just with the exterior style, but how it feels when you're driving it. You get a combination of both hybrid and regular gas V6 powertrains, and a whole lot more technology that makes this Kia drive and feel more like the Telluride and other bigger SUVs. But really, as we all know, minivans are the biggest inside, and it may not look as best as you want it to, and it might get all the opinions of the people in the school pickup line that you're not driving something as cool. But what do they know? This car has all the features, and it's gonna be way more comfortable for a family than pretty much any SUV out there. And this is definitely among our favorites. What do you think? Go to CarGurus.com, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time.